Hey witches. So I recently traveled, actually in the last year and a half, I've been kind of traveling just with a book bag. So travel altars have been really hard for me and getting through TSA because this is international travel and just really not knowing what's allowed. I've had to design a new travel altar. And so what I'm calling this the Green Witch's Travel Altar because it doesn't include a lot of my normal stuff that I've been taking with me for so long. This actually includes a lot of things from my yard, the plants I grow, the trees that I have here, and some other things that remind me of home or just feel good to travel with. So I thought it would be a nice video to show you guys what I created. I'm calling it the Green Witch's Travel Altar. Now, this little box is from a little trinket box thing that I got. It's just, I'm reusing a box that something I got came in. That's it. The thing that I like about it is it's pretty dense cardboard. So if it's in my book bag or if it's in a bag, it's gonna be really hard to smash that. It's made well, so yay, that's why I'm reusing it. All right, I don't know the best way to do this, but I think the first thing that I think of when I put stuff in a little container that has breakable things in it is something needs to go in and take up the extra space. So I have this really small, I don't even know if you would call it an altar cloth. It's so tiny. I've never really used it for anything, but I think it came with a pack of tarot cards or oracle cards. And, I keep these sort of things. So it made a perfect addition to the top of this. And I guess one of the things that I could do is at my B&B or my hotel, if I wanted to do an actual little altar kind of layout of stuff, if I really needed those moments alone, I could actually use it to lay stuff on. So I guess I'm gonna try to do that here. Okay, and of course we have the kittens that just wanna be a part of the show, so they're going to meow. All right, if we're looking inside the box, I've put some things in there, especially, I'm big on the elements. Fire, earth, air, water, the elements live in my practice. So that is important for me. So there's things in here that are representing just those elements because I find them important to my practice. Number one is probably the feather. I have feathers everywhere. I probably have thousands of feathers that I collect from the yard to the beach, wherever I'm walking on a path, in other cities, doesn't matter. So I've got the tiniest feather. I would say it's from a pigeon, but I don't know. Again, just collected in my yard, but feathers represent air. So I have the element of air that I can hold on to. Then this is a piece of my oak tree. We trim it, every so often. I'm not gonna say every year, maybe every 2 years. But oak is the element of fire. So instead of having any kind of candles or anything in here, it's really just green witch type items. So herbs and flowers and things like that, salt, dirt, things from my yard, things that remind me of home. But the oak tree can represent fire. So I have air and fire. This is part of my pine tree, and pine for me is protection. So I made little Christmas ornaments several years ago of little bundles. It was like a pagan Christmas tree, little bundles of pine branches. That was tough to get out. And this is just one of the things left over. It's super lightweight because it's so older and dried and if I crunch this, it could probably fall apart. But it represents my pine tree. We have 2 of them. They're over 200 years old on our property. And, I believe that their spirits watch over us. And so that's part of my pine tree that comes with me. And I'm not assigning it to anything. It's really just this is what reminds me of protection. Okay, so there's one element. Okay, next in the box, stones. And I don't know if stones are considered green witch stuff, but whenever I travel, I really like to bring something that has a negative cleansing ability. And for me, that's Smoky Quartz. So I have tons of little Smoky Quartz that I can pop in my pocket if I'm going somewhere. Because it's not just having it in the room. These are elements that I could possibly carry with me when I'm out and about in a foreign place. Smoky Quartz for that. When you go into an airport or really busy places, the energy of everybody, I don't know about you guys, but man, my anxiety gets the worst of me. It's I can't breathe sometimes in there. So I will, pull out a Smoky Quartz, I'll rub it. I usually have my jewelry on, I mess with that, and I just kind of try to think all right, don't let any of this affect me. Don't let any of this get into my space, kind of that protective, keep away. So Smoky Quartz for clearing stuff up. This is just just Himalayan salt, like literally Himalayan kitchen salt. It's about grounding. And I think that when I see this, I remember that salt, I feel like, has a lot of the elements in it. You know, sea salt, Himalayan salt, this all is from the ocean. All of our salts come from the ocean, or more appropriately, dried up oceans, dried up ocean water, wherever they're at. So the Himalayan sea salt is the same thing. It's a grounding element. Imagine that this sea salt is dug out of a massive mountain. So this has the element of earth for me. So we've got fire with oak, the feather is air, we've got earth with the Himalayan sea salt. All right, I know this is a weird one. Again, don't know how this is necessarily green witchcraft, but I live near the ocean, so I collect little pieces of coral or shells. So I'll always put something that represents the ocean or a water element in my boxes for me, because that is my element. I'm a Pisces sun, so water is very important to me. So I've got a little piece of coral for water. So I've got my 4 elements here. Now, everything else that I do within the box is just like, just in case, right? So I have lavender, just the lavender buds in case I'm feeling really anxious or to go to sleep. They still smell great. I just pop the bottle open, I can smell it. I can stick this in my pocket for like a calming effect if I know, again, I'm going out somewhere where there might be a lot of energy that I don't want to feel and I want to stay present and clear and like centered. I can bring lavender with me to kind of like breathe through the anxiety, like everything is okay. This will calm me down. So I've got my lavender there. All right, this one is really funny. I was called to just put like dirt from my yard in it. And does it look like sand? Yes, it is. It is dark sand. I live in Florida, so it's got some grass flakes in it. There's probably some shell pieces in it because that's what our ground is here. But bringing a piece of my home's ground with me, it's like I'm still connected to my safe place, because my home is my safe place. It's where I feel the most grounded. You know, if I didn't like traveling so much, I'd probably never leave my yard, my home, whatever. But so this is my yard's dirt. I just brought it with me. This is Plumeria. It is a love flower. It's exotic for me. I lived on Guam for 2 years, and Plumeria was kind of like they're not quite a state, they're a US territory, but it's their flower. And these, when you dry them, they still smell good. So the fragrance of this kind of brings me peace. I don't remember its actual magical properties, but for me, Plumeria is about like peace, happiness, love, like just, I don't know, it reminds me of Hawaii. It grows really well here in Florida. So like magical, beautiful places, Plumerias. And the color, I just, you know, it's like purplish, reddish, maroonish. It's pretty, I love it. Then, okay, well, we'll go to this one. I have a scented oil. I use these a lot because smells for me, I think that that's part of being a green witch and why you get into using herbs. I think the smell of stuff can really set a mood or a tone or like bring you back to a place. If you use it in your practice, it's almost like a smell. You know, the best way to describe this is, my father passed in 2011 and he had this like specific kind of cologne. I don't know what it was called. He smelled like a man. I don't know, just an older man, I guess. Maybe it was Old Spice. Like, I literally don't know. But every once in a while, you know, I'll be walking through a store or at a restaurant or something, and I'll smell what I consider my dad's smell. And it's like, the smell is the memory, the feelings, all the things. Sometimes it's like joy and happiness and like I light up, and other times it's like, oh my God, I miss him. So smells, I feel like, can really invoke emotions and help us regulate emotions that we kind of like want to get rid of. Like I said, with traveling, for me, it's anxiety, feeling pressured, not being at home, not feeling necessarily like safe in my boundaries. I bring different scented oils. And you know what? I'll tell you the truth. I don't pay attention to what they are or what they mean. I smell a bunch of them before I go on my trip, and I put the one in that just smells right to me. And if ever something happens, I'll look it up later and be like, oh my God, why did that work so well? Oh, and that's just getting to know things. So this is Aromatherapy. I'm going to say it wrong. Is that right? Shoot. You guys are going to get me. But I can't think of the name of it. Aromatherapy is what I want to say. That is not it. But, and what does it smell like? It kind of smells like a forest floor that's like mossy and kind of earthy. And then there's a scent of jasmine almost in it. I don't know what this smell is supposed to be, but when I smell it, it makes me feel good. So I put that one in there as well. Now time for my little tiny baby jars, okay? These are little tiny guys that I can bring with me or that I can set out, and I don't need much of it to remember its purpose. This first one is actually snake skin from my yard. I have lots of beneficial snakes in my yard, and they leave me little sheddings, and I collect them and I love them. And so for me, the snake represents feminine energy, because a snake sheds, we shed, like, you know, the uterus lining, all of that. There's a shedding of old self to become new again. I think witchcraft is definitely about that. So for snake skin, it's like feminine energy in a bottle for me. That's like, I can do anything, I can get through anything. And thank you to Taylor Swift for making snakes even more popular for women. Love it. Next is marigolds. Okay, this little tiny thing. First off, yellow is a super happy color. When you get yellow roses, they're a congratulation color. And my husband and I take our marigold seeds and we literally just scatter them anywhere and everywhere just to see where they'll pop up and grow. Like every marigold bud that dries up, it can make like 50,000 new flowers. Not true, probably more like 100. But we just spread them everywhere, because why not? Like, spread the seeds everywhere. All of the pollinators love them. You know, we love seeing them. Yellow is such a fun, happy color. So I have a little bit of my dried marigold leaves in there. Next, I call this bottle like a divinity bottle. There's a really small piece of selenite in here, and selenite for me is my connection, like, to the moon, to my higher self, to spirit guides. And I would carry this with me if I needed, like, signs from the universe that it's all going to work out, or like I was trying to connect with something in the space that I was going to. It's definitely got some moss, some rose, and what's a little white one called? Baby's breath. So all of those mixed into here to feel like gentle. The feeling of this bottle, this little, I don't even know what you would call this. It's gentleness, so that I can easily open up to spirit and message from the other side. And I don't need much to connect. I just need the reminder, hold it, like focus my energy, and there I am. All right, my last one. This is all my little bottles. This one's actually wearable. You can put it on a chain, and this is a love one. So this is for if I really need to feel like I love myself, I love where I'm at, I love, 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 love. It's got amethyst chips in it. It's got catnip in it. So I don't know if you know, but catnip is like an herb that's used for beauty. And it's got, of course, a rose petal in it, and then it looks like more rose petal just kind of chopped up in there. But I made this probably 2 or 3 years ago and wore it on a necklace a couple times, and then it's just been sitting in one of my cabinets. And I thought it's a perfect little item to pack that goes with green witchcraft, that can represent an energy that you want to bring with you on a trip. Perfect. So all of these little divine things can go with me, and then just the way that you pack them back in, it's accordingly, right? Like, okay, all the sticks can go together, the taller bottles can all go together. And I don't think TSA would stop you for any of this stuff. Like, I thought about putting matches in there as far as like an element of fire, but again, I don't know, I don't want to mess with getting stopped a bunch, you know. So all of this stuff is pretty safe. It's all very small. It's not really gonna, you know, make the sensors go off. And then lastly, I'm putting the feather on top because it's the most delicate. And then I would just take my little cloth. I could fold it, I could do whatever I want with it, but for now it's just gonna sit in there and tuck in all of the spaces so that those bottles can't really jumble around and be broken when I travel with it. And then you can hear it rattle, but they're not gonna break. Those little guys, I've dropped those teeny tiny bottles on the ground and they don't shatter. The bigger ones do, but the little teeny tiny ones, I don't know. They're made of like superior glass. Anyways, the last thing, it's not about green witchcraft, but I want you guys to know that I usually always bring, so 90% of the time, I bring my mini tarot card deck, because I get the urge to just pull a card and get a message at random times. I keep them in my pocket a lot, you know, if I'm somewhere where I wear a jacket, so that if I'm in a place and I'm like, ooh, what is that? Like, I feel something, I just pull a card. So that would be like what my travel altar would look like for green witchcraft, because it's all about the herbs and knowing like what they represent for you and what they can bring while you carry them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or you want to see me do maybe another kind of altar for a different path, I would be more than willing to explore that. All right, I'll see you later. Bye, witches.